moving on to probably the most disturbing article I found today. The coronavirus, South Korea to strap tracking wristbands on those who violate quarantine orders. All right, let's read the article first, then I'll give you my comments. Seoul, South Korea, on Saturday, April 11th, said people who violate quarantine orders will be required to wear tracking wristbands. This comes after a large number of people were found to have self-quarantine rule. They broke the rules. Okay, so the plan will take off within the next 2 weeks, said the Prime Minister. After deep consideration, the government has decided to put electronic wristbands on people who violate self-isolation rules, such as going outside without notice and not answering phone calls, the news agency said. So they're going to be like puppies. Cool. However, there are no laws in the country to compel those under quarantine to wear the wristbands. As such, the health authorities will have to ask violators permission before they can actually get them to wear the device. The Korea Center for Disease Control and Prevention said experts active cooperation for those under quarantine. As of Thursday, over 54,000 people were under self-quarantine, with more than 160 people caught for leaving the confines of their home. If people under self-isolation break quarantine rules, such as going outside without notice and not responding to the health check calls, they will face legal actions and will be asked to wear the wristband for the rest of the quarantine period. The wristband will connect to the government's mobile app to monitor the movement of the person under quarantine. A notification will be sent to the authorities if the device is damaged. A recent survey of 1,000 adults nationwide by the Ministry of Consult showed that 80% of the people supported the ideas of using electronic wristbands to keep those under self-quarantine. All right, and this, by the way, this did not come from Korea. This came from a Singapore website called the Star Times. So anyway, let me give you my comments on this. Stay tuned. So my thoughts on the strap tracking wristbands used to track you. Okay, first, this is not mandatory, but voluntary. But that could change at a later date. Could this type of wristband be expanded on for other uses, like to track criminals outside of jail, co-workers in a company, or elderly in a home? Or how about children while we're at it? Is it a way to violate freedom of movement? How would you feel if somebody knew where you were every moment of the day? Hey, that might decrease adultery. We saw some countries using thermal heat monitors to keep people apart, with social distancing, and phone apps to track their movement. But you can always leave a phone at home, and you can always be in your freezer. But what if this becomes something a country does to all citizens, including children? How would you feel in this type of situation? Maybe North Korea or China or somebody does something this extreme and it just becomes part of daily life. Instead of the wristband, maybe they'll put a little microchip in your head in 5 or 10 years. Let me know. I really would be interested on what you think about this approach. Hi. The small clip you saw was brought to you by Loyal World News. If you like what you saw, you should subscribe and look up my daily Loyal World News report for its full version. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, prefer to be on the road, I also have a podcast in every full-length video I put up.